Hello, and welcome back to Any Topic Tango. I'm your host, Joe, and today's topic is what era would you live in? I know for me, there's a very specific few sets of eras that stand out. History has had a very, I don't know how to say it. Uh, History's interesting for a lot of reasons. Some of them are good and some of them are bad. Some of the good things in history are the moon landing, the last time the Toronto Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup, the last time the Montreal Canadiens won the Stanley Cup. So, yeah. But anyways, yeah, the eras. There's so many eras to choose from. You have the Egyptian era, where everyone's all they got the cats and everything. Like, oh man, they built a giant cat. Like, that is levels of amazing. Then you have the Roman era, all the horses and chariots and gladiator kind of stuff. And then you have the Renaissance. And then you have the medieval era. And then you have the Western, the Wild West. One of my personal favorites, the Golden Age of Piracy. So there's lots of eras to choose from. Like, when it comes to history, like, history has changed a lot. And picking one time that would be cool to be in is really difficult. Like, it's a fully thought out question, right? Like, what era would you want to live in? I certainly don't enjoy living in today's era. I don't think I think there's a lot wrong in today's era, but I'm not going to get too much into that, the politics, and stuff like that, right? But back to the fun part of this. Politics is fucking boring, by the way. It really is. It's a dry thing, but yeah. So back to the eras. Um, there's good eras and there's bad eras and or bad times in history that have happened. Like I would not want to be alive for World War I or World War II, or during the Chernobyl incident, or during the 2000. Or well, I was alive during the 2008 recession, but I'm glad I wasn't like old enough to kind of understand it. A lot of people got hurt out of that. But yeah, so in history, like, there's so many pivotal moments, and it's like, where would you want to be inside of it? Like, if you could pick a time. And I've kind of narrowed down, like, I guess, the time frames that I would like to be alive. Um, we'll start out with the oldest, the medieval era. Like, that is so cool. Swords, awesome land battles, castles. Like, could you imagine living in a castle? That would be like next level shit. Living in a castle would be fucking mint. The only problem is it takes you 5 minutes to get to the bathroom. And you have to watch out when you go to the bathroom because you might get splinters in your asshole. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants splinters in their ass. But it would have been interesting to live in that era. But the age, um, the the life expectancy of the era is really low. Like, as of right now, like, we're at the highest life expectancy we could possibly be in. Like, if you go back 20,000 years, the life expectancy was about 20 years old, or 30 years old. And then if you go back to 1874, 1875-ish, the life expectancy was 34, 35. So in all of that time, in 20,000 years, we never really gained much for life expectancy. Like, it was like, but through the miracles of science and all the stuff we're doing, our life expectancy is so much higher now. Our life expectancy is probably, I think it's roughly 84, 85, I think, is the life expectancy for humans now, which is just astronomically insane because it allows us to see more history than our ancestors ever had, right? Because if you think about it, like, I'm 33 right now. I just turned 33 last week. So this would have been my rough life expectancy if I had been alive 700, 800 years ago, right? So I've already lived an entire lifetime in a different era, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just comparing it, like, life wise. So when you look at that, um, modern day is actually pretty good because we have a higher life expectancy. We get to cherish more time with our loved ones and family and friends and all that other bullshit that makes life important, I guess. So yeah, so we have the medieval era. We have knights, we have castles, we have awesome land battles. I really wish it was like in the books where we had dragons and shit. That would be kind of cool too. But this is real life, so nah, no dragons. Sorry. But then we'll move up to another era that I think would be awesome to live in: the fucking age of piracy. Sailing the seas. Sailing the goddamn seas. Like, wow. That would be awesome. Nothing in your nothing in nothing in your head except the wind from the sea, the nice warm crisp air. It's probably humid as shit over there. But the age of piracy would be awesome. You just basically did whatever the hell you wanted. Not for all people. I guess some people would have been civilized and would have lived a normal life as a blacksmith or other shit like that. But sailing the seas, I could see myself sailing the seas. Would be awesome. You just get drunk as heck on rum all day. Well, actually, you had rum rations. You had rations of rum. Rum got you through it. But yeah, the only problem with the whole age of piracy thing is being attacked by other pirates. Like, cannonballs. Cannonballs are massive. Like, could you imagine just sailing one day and then another ship comes up and they're like, hey, we want to fight. And then you guys start launching shit at each other. And then all of a sudden, bam, take a cannonball right to the chest. Like, you're done. You're done. You're cooked. You are out of this world. You're gone. You're never coming back. Or you lose a leg. Or you lose a leg. That happens too. And when you lose a leg, you get one of these tiny fucking sticks. You stab it in your leg. And all of a sudden, you're peg leg. Well, that part doesn't seem fun. There's a lot cooler times in history to be in, I guess. But I don't know. The Age of Piracy's always had a certain flair with me. I guess I just watched too much of the Pirates of the Caribbean. And I played too many pirate games. I may have played one too many pirate games. I still enjoy pirate games. They're pretty good. Now, the next era that I think too would be really interesting to live in, the Wild West. Now, for me, I'm a little unlucky. Actually, in all these scenarios until recent time, I'm very unlucky. Having piss poor eyesight would not do me any good. I probably wouldn't see the night coming and he'd stab me right in the fucking face. Or I probably wouldn't see the cannonball coming and I would get smoked right in the chest or lose a leg, or I'd fall off the ship because I couldn't see where the step is in the middle of the night. Like, there's various reasons I'd just be screwed all of these eras until more recently, thanks to the invention of glasses. They did have glasses back then, but I don't think they had the prescription that I need because these things are like certified fucking Coke bottles. So they're pretty thick. Yeah. And they don't even give me like the greatest of vision either. But so the Age of Piracy would be fun. Oh, and then the Wild West, the frontier. The slide guitar, the tumbleweed rolling through the scene. Like, I kind of feel like all my history is just based off of movies. Works for me though. Keeps me interested. But anyways, the Wild West. Outlaws. 6-shooters. Colt revolver. Single action. Like, you had those old wicked lever action rifles, you know, like that shit is awesome. Like when it comes to that, like, man, it'd just be so cool. You just ride horse all day, you know, or you live on a ranch and you run a ranch raising horses, hoping to God that horse thieves don't come up and kill your entire family in the middle of the night. Yeah, you worry about things like that in that era. Yeah, we'll go with that. But anyways, the Wild West, you have the saloons, you have the atmosphere, you have that old barber looking guy playing the piano. You know, he's got the striped coat, he's got the fancy little weird black tie thing that's got like the bows and or bow tie, you know, kind of deal. He's playing the piano. You're having a great time. You're drinking some whiskeys or some beers or sarsaparilla or whatever, you know, whatever works for you. Um, so you're just living the dream out in the air or out in the West. And then an outlaw comes and he walks in the saloon. He kicks the door open. And the next thing you know, there's a full out shootout right in the middle of the saloon. And then you probably get caught in the middle of it. Yeah. What a lawless time. What a lawless time. But then you move on. You move on to the next era, right? You get to one of my personal favorite eras, the 1950s. The 1950s was a very interesting time. The war had just ended not too long ago, you know. You had everybody was coming back. It was you had the white picket fence dream, you know. You were starting families. There was new and interesting jobs coming on the market, you know, like marketing and uh, you know, and other jobs like that. I'm just trying to like spitball kind of jobs that would be fresh for that era. You had the nuclear boom, you know, where we started building more and more nuclear reactors. You know, and this carried on through the 60s and 70s, and even today, like we're still talking about nuclear and how much we think it will be the future. I'm not particularly sure on it. I don't know much about nuclear other than the pretty extensive knowledge I have of Chernobyl. Um, but yeah, so you had all these new things come out. You had the start of the muscle car around that era. You know, the 50s, 60s. You had the muscle car. Like muscle cars are amazing. You know, you get the old Impalas like the '67 Impala and stuff like that. Like, man, that's awesome. Um, but going back specifically to the 50s, you had the 1957 Chevy Bel Air. Amazing looking car, especially when it's in that nice red. You get that nice shimmer, you know, that nice reflection, and it's just it's wonderful, wonderful. But now we'll jump to the 80s. The 80s. Oh, the 80s. Good music, dancing, clubbing, the bright neon lights. Well, you had it in the 70s too. 70s, you kind of did your disco thing. But I don't know. I just prefer the 80s. You know, the nice pink neon signs and other things in the 80s would be uh, the prevalence of more American muscle cars and stuff like that. You know, you had the DeLorean. Like, oh man, and that went on to spawn an amazing franchise. You know, the Back to the Future franchise was awesome. But when I think of the 80s, I think of the music. The music, like, you just really can't compare other eras of music to the 80s. Like, the 80s just had some of the best music you'll ever find. Whether it's in rock and roll or country, like the 80s, they just had it. Like, it was just there. Um, you get that whole beach vibe from the 80s. You have the old square body trucks. Uh, yeah, Yeah, some of the eras are very interesting. Um, and then you had the 90s. I think the 90s and the mid 2000s, I think, was the last of the good before what I think is starting the decline now. I just don't think society is what it used to be. Well, it's not what it used to be. Society is way different now. Society's become overcomplicated and overcomplex, and I think that's the issue with society. I think as a people, we need to just step back and get more to the simple things of life. I think that's probably the best thing. I mean, it's not that I don't enjoy some of the change that's happened, because I think there is a lot of change that I personally like to see. Um, but I think what happened was we overcomplicated everything, and now we're just in a tailspin. So the 90s was really good. I was born in the 90s, so I grew up in the mid 90s, the early 2000s era, and like it it was a good experience. I'm glad I grew up without cell phones. I'm glad I grew up without a cell phone, because I think today's generation is just being really hindered by the use of this technology. Um, and take it from me, where I'm someone, when I grew up and I was going to school, I had to rely heavily on technology for learning because my eyesight was just not that good. So I had to rely on all this technology growing up. But I used it for school purposes. I used it for learning. I used it for education. I never used it for messing around on TikTok for 9 hours a day, you know? But yeah, technology took off a lot. Cell phones came out, and I think that this generation just kind of went, nobody plays outside anymore. Like, I remember when I was a kid, and I'm pretty sure for my older viewers out there, I'm pretty sure you guys all remember when you were kids. You guys going in was at dark time. When the street lights come on, that was your get your ass home now. Otherwise, you're gonna get a fucking punch in the head. But today's generation just doesn't do it. They don't go out that much anymore. They don't do anything. They're just inside playing video games. I just don't understand it. We used to play outside. We used to skate, and oh, skating. Oh, the other thing too, yeah, is in time, roughhousing really got, like, nobody roughhouses anymore. Like, I remember when I was a kid and we used to skate. Uh, One of my dad's friends used to make this skating rink outside every year, and holy shit, like the shit that happened on that skating rink still haunts me to this day. I cut one of my friends with a skate on that skating rink. Literally cut him open with my skate. I just fucking stomped on his hand and cut it because we were laughing. We thought it was funny. It was rough. We were roughhousing. We were kids, you know. Like, it was just holy crap. Yeah, that wouldn't stand today. Holy man. So yeah, the stuff that happened back then, like, we can't do that anymore. Roughhousing, now it's. I mean, I get it. Like, there's a difference. There's a difference between roughhousing as children and bullying, and I'm very anti-bullying. Like, I don't like seeing people getting bullied. It bothers me. It perturbs me. I don't like seeing people at a disadvantage get hurt even more. I think it's particularly because I'm in that position where people have attacked me for my disability. So I really hate it when I see people getting attacked for issues that aren't really their fault. You know what I mean? But yeah. So I realize we've strayed pretty far off of the topic. So we're gonna get back to the eras. But I think, yeah. So my top three eras for living would be the age of piracy, the 1950s, and the 1980s. I've made some pretty clear case points on those. And looking at history, specifically going back to the Egyptian times, I read an article the other day and it was actually pretty interesting. They had a mummy and they found yeast inside of it. I don't know how exactly. I'm not a scientist per se. So they took this yeast from this mummy and they made a sourdough bread. They made a sourdough bread. I would never try it. I would never. It's really cool that they were able to do it, but I feel like the bread would taste a little old. Yeah, I'm not really into it. And now I guess the next thing they're gonna try with this ancient mummy is they're gonna try making beer. They're gonna try making beer. I have no idea. That's so weird to me, but yeah. So that's just a little odd fact that I seen the other day, and I was like, holy crap! Like, I gotta mention this. I think this is awesome. But yeah, let me know like what era you would live in. Let me know uh, what experience in life I guess would be awesome for you out of an era. Like if you could go back to the Wild West and do the gunslinging, or if you could go back to the 1950s and drive a 1957 Chevy Bel Air right out of the garage. Like let me know what you thought. Let me know your thoughts on this. Like, yeah, like I've always found a fascination with history, and actually, I went to school for history. It was one of the topics one of the things that I did was I went to school for history. So I actually went to university and studied history. A lot of history is boring, though. Just warning you, there's a lot of boring parts in history, but there's a lot of cool parts too. But I guess boring is a really relative term because what I find interesting, other people might not. Like, I'm very excited because tomorrow's the World Cup. There's a lot of my friends that they're like, nah, we don't watch soccer. And I'm just like, okay, well, whatever. I'm going to watch it. It's going to be awesome. Go Team Canada. So, yeah. Let me know your thoughts on this. And yeah, I think this is basically going to tie up this episode of the podcast. Sorry it was late. I had a few things going on. Usually it would be uploaded Wednesday at 7 o'clock in the morning, but it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon as I'm recording this because I had some stuff come up yesterday, so I couldn't really do that. But Wednesday's always going to be my release day, whether it's in the morning or afternoon. I'm always going to shoot for the morning at 7. I'm going to try and stay consistent with that. This was just an odd week. I had a lot of things happen. My brother started a new job and he's gone to work. So helping him get set up and helping him kind of around the house and helping me around the house before he left, because now it's just me around here for now, which is going to be awesome. I'm going to be so much more relaxed. So much more relaxed. Thank God. Braden, if you're watching this, you don't have to come home. You can go on vacation when you're on your week off. Just go on vacation. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, but yeah, so this is going to about do it for this episode. Let me know what you think. Yeah. And next episode is going to be an awesome episode. I can't wait to film it. It's going to be, I'm going to stand on a soapbox for about 20 minutes and I'm just going to talk about what life is like with a disability. And I'm probably just going to roast the shit out of myself on all the various things that I can't do, because my theory is in life, I can't change what I've got, so I might as well just run with it and have fun. So I make a lot of jokes about myself. That's what keeps me happy. But yeah, so if you like what you see, like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. See you around.